On the A6 amendment.
This amendment would reinstate the 5-year waiting period from the time the legislation is approved before a public take of the gray wolf, including hunting, will be considered, and only if A, accurate and sound scientific data provides clear evidence that population management is necessary, a public take is deemed necessary after other means for controlling the population are attempted unsuccessfully, accurate and sound scientific data provide clear evidence demonstrating an understanding of the impacts of a public take on the gray wolf population. A full public comment is completed, allowing state attitudes to be assessed, and the majority of the public support is demonstrated for a sport hunting season before a public take for population management measures are approved.
Senator Schmitz.
Thank you, Mr. President. This, of course, is a sensitive issue, and I appreciate Senator Eaton bringing this to our attention through this amendment. Obviously, there's a lot of scrutiny on this topic, and a lot of folks here today. I've heard from a number of my constituents on this matter as well. I have to tell you, just to be frank with members of the body here, I believe that this issue is bigger than this bill, and it needs a full airing in the committee process, and that's something we have not enjoyed here in the Senate. But I fear that if this amendment were to go on, this is going to put the Game and Fish Bill in peril moving forward. And there are a lot of great amendments, great provisions in our Game and Fish Bill, some important information and provisions coming to us from the DNR. And I would have to respectfully ask folks to vote against this amendment.
Thank you, Madam President.
On the amendment.
Members, I rise in opposition to this amendment as well. We had well, I think it was 7 or 8 years of waiting before the DNR moved forward and proposed a plan, a thoughtful plan. They've implemented it in a way that has looked at the population numbers. They're careful. I think we should leave it in the hands of the DNR. I think in this regard, I think they've done a decent job.
Senator Eaton.
Thank you, Mr. President. Hunting and trapping wolves for sport continues the persecutory attitudes and behaviors toward the gray wolf and nearly put it extinct a few years ago. Hunting and trapping is not necessary to control wolf numbers. Wolves control their own numbers, as such, the DNR has not established a maximum population level for the wolves. Wolf expert David Mech, MECH, PhD, stated that the wolf population has no upper limit and that wolves self-regulate their numbers. Wolves have much greater value to our state alive. They are keystone ecotourism species in a $531 million a year sustainable Minnesota industry that attracts visitors from all over the world. Nearly 13,000 jobs in Minnesota are supported by wildlife viewing, and a wolf hunt negatively impacts this industry. Minnesotans value wolves and find them significant for future generations. Ojibwe tribes throughout the state strongly oppose the wolf hunt because they revere the wolf as their spiritual brother and believe the fate of their people is tied to the fate of the wolf. Lost federal protections and lightened state laws and penalties have allowed wolves to be killed more readily.
Senator Tomassoni.
Mr. President, this also has a very serious fiscal impact, and I would oppose this amendment, and I'd request a roll call, Mr. President.
There'll be a roll call. Senator Ingebrigtsen.
I have a comment on the fiscal impact, Mr. President.
All right, on the Tomassoni question.
I have consulted with counsel, and they said that the fiscal impact of a wolf moratorium, that even without a wolf hunt, there would be enough money for the wolf management. The surcharge to deer hunters for wolf management is $50 a license, which comes out to approximately $350,000 collected per year. And the expenditures for wolf management are approximately $250,000 per year, and the wolf hunt license sales are approximately $140,000. In any event, the surcharge on deer hunters would cover the necessary expenditures for wolf management.
Senator Ingebrigtsen.
Thank you, Madam President, and I rise in opposition of this as well. Members, the first wolf hunt started 2 years ago under a lot of discussion we had that went on, and I understand Senator Eaton's passion about this and others. We certainly have all been visited by those that are very passionate about saving the wolf, but being very straightforward, I can say that the DNR, and remind everybody that the DNR manages over 50 species in the state of Minnesota. And I've passed out and we talk about numbers and how many wolves there are. Once again, we are reminded by the population data collected by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service that Minnesota is, I believe, only third to Alaska and Canada when it comes to numbers, and you can see the populations for yourself. The population of 2,211 is, some will say a little high, some will say low, and obviously this population record was actually brought in before the season, the mating season, and now the delivery season of the wolf. So they're probably looking at higher numbers higher, and you can see statewide here how other states handle it. I mean, you have Montana, for instance, 625 is the population. They have no statewide limit. My goodness. So Minnesota is taking a very, I think, reasonable look at this. Remind members, the first season we had, the inaugural season, was 400 animals. I think 424 were harvested. Last year was 220, and that goes, you know, can vary a little bit because the same two wolves could be killed at the same time, so they're required to call that in. So members, we have a very large population compared to other states, and they should be managed just as well as the other 50 species in the state of Minnesota. And again, I respectfully oppose the Eaton amendment.
Senator Rude.
Mr. President and members, I thank the member from Brooklyn Park in the metro area for bringing forth an amendment for wolf management in greater Minnesota. I doubt that you see the wolves that I see on a daily basis in greater Minnesota. I rise in absolute opposition to this amendment. You know, we are just starting to get a handle on the wolves in greater Minnesota in our area. We have them in our hunting camps. Our ranchers out in the western half of our state are really struggling with the fact that we have wolves taking calves this time of year all the time. It's devastating out there. You know, just 3 weeks ago in Pequot Lakes, we had a wolf take a black lab right out of the front yard, right in town. Wolf management is absolutely necessary, members, and I think that it's time that the DNR really get a handle on this and we allow them to do their jobs. Members, if you go online, you can see a picture of the young man. Mr. Chair, could I have a little quiet in the chamber, please?
Senator Rude.
Members, if you'd really like to see what the wolves do in greater Minnesota, take a look online of the picture of the young man that was taken out of his sleeping bag while he was camping in northern Minnesota. And take a look at his skull where there's staples, where the wolf took a big chunk out of his head. That's a young man in a sleeping bag at a camping. Members, the wolf management is very much needed. I suggest that we let the DNR do their job. And for those of us that live in greater Minnesota, where we have wolves, where we see wolves, they're not just little German shepherds that live in your backyard. They're big wolves, and they're a problem. So members, please, red vote on this amendment.
Osmick and then Senator Bach, and we're close to a vote.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just briefly to explain the color picture I provided you, this is something that I saw in committee. This is the example of what happens to a beagle when it meets a wolf. I won't describe it for the people at home, but let's just say it doesn't paint a particularly good picture. And I also point to the fact that this happened in a northern Minnesota town. It was on the outskirts of a town. This isn't somebody out in the middle of the woods. This is on the outskirts of a large town in Minnesota, and you can see that there are buildings on one of the pictures very near where this took place. Members, I believe in the wolf population being managed by the DNR. Maybe there is 0 wolves being harvested one year. Maybe there are 500. Nonetheless, it is important to leave it to the experts so that we can manage that like we manage deer and moose and everything else. Thank you.
Senator Bach.
Well, Madam President, members, I have probably a little stronger recollection on this issue than probably most of the people in the chamber. I was a member of the conference committee in 2000, the year 2000, that developed this wolf management plan in Minnesota. I was a member of the other body at the time. And we gave a lot of consideration to the idea of once the wolf is delisted, there should be a 5-year period of time so that we make sure that the population is stable, because the last thing we wanted as conferees was to immediately have a hunting season and end up with them back on the endangered species list again. So there was a lot of conversation. There was a lot of conversation in this body, and I wasn't here because that conference committee report was sent back to the conference committee by the Senate. And we worked on it again. And we finally came to an agreement. It was a very, very difficult conference committee. The federal government then began the process of delisting the wolf 14 years ago. And people that are trying to tell you that somehow the state didn't honor their commitment to 5 years before we had a hunting season, I mean, the reason that happened is because the federal government went through the delisting process twice and delisted the wolf. And due to, one time, on a pure technicality, the courts threw out the Fish and Wildlife Service's action on the delisting. So the truth is, there has been way past a 5-year period of time that the legislature originally intended before we started to manage the timber wolf population. And I just want to say one other thing that is close to me because they live in my district. That is the Minnesota moose. The Minnesota moose population is in peril. And I wish all these people that care so passionately about the timber wolf that is at the top of the food chain, I wish they felt as strongly about the big lumbering moose. Because the DNR is starting to study what's happening to our population of moose. And you can look at the research, there's studies out there. The wolves are eating the majority of the calves when they're born. That's what's going on. So we can protect the wolf, but we are certain to eliminate the moose in Minnesota. And I can tell you, the people that come to my district on the North Shore and the Gunflint Trail over the summer and to Ely, they marvel when they can see a moose. And someday we're not going to have any if we don't manage the predators, because the predators always win. So just give that some consideration, that to keep things in balance, we have to have management. And that's why we called it a wolf management plan. It's been 14 years since this legislature passed that wolf management plan. I just wanted to give a little bit of history on that because I was deeply involved in that in the year 2000.
Is there any more discussion on the A6 amendment? Seeing no further, I'm looking around. Senator Eaton.
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to clarify that the last moose study I saw, half of the calves were killed by the DNR that in the study from being tagged. A third of them were killed by the wolves, and the rest died from different diseases and illnesses. I haven't seen another one since. But Minnesotans value the wolves. Wildlife enthusiasts outnumber hunters and trappers in Minnesota roughly 4-to-1. And 79% of DNR survey respondents, including hunters, oppose shooting, trapping, and snaring Minnesota wolves. The wildlife of Minnesota doesn't just belong to the people who choose to live by it. It belongs to everybody in the state of Minnesota. In fact, most of the funding to manage the wildlife in northern Minnesota comes from the metro area. I really take offense at being told I can't care about it.
On the A6 amendment, seeing no further discussion, the Secretary will take the roll. All members having voted, the Secretary will close the roll. There being 27 ayes and 36 nays, the motion does not prevail. The amendment is not adopted.